Hello, today we're going to talk about the recent dynamics of the Russian equity market. In the first half of the year, the contraction of Russian equities is very much similar to the contraction on the oil market. Does this mean that now Russian equities and oil are very well connected, and oil price is like the key driver for the Russian equity market?
Well, I guess the right answer is yes and no. Well, yes, because that's true that Russian economy and the performance on the long-term horizon is really depend on performance of the oil prices. But on the short-term horizon, I guess it's just coincidence that the performance of the oil is equal to the performance of equities, because I see that absolutely different factors affected the performance of Russian equities in 2007.
I see.
2017.
I see. And what kind of important factors affected the Russian equities in the first half of the year?
Well, I guess the key important factor is that the Russian equities started this year on a quite high valuation. As you remember, in November, December, that was a quite good performance of the Russian stocks after the Trump was elected as US president. So there was too many optimistic expectations regarding the lifting of some sanctions, regarding negotiation between Trump and Putin.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality was suddenly quite opposite to the expectation. So as soon as this positive expectation turned to negative facts,
mm-hmm.
so there are a lot of hot and speculative money left the market.
I see. And you mentioned that there was some optimism regarding a relationship between Mr. Trump and Mr. Putin. And this also sparked carry trade activity with the targets of the Russian government bonds. Actually, the share of international investors exceeded 30% on these markets. Do you think that now there will be a reverse of the situation with the negative consequences for the ruble, or not?
Well, what we see that investors to the fixed income market, to the local fixed income market, is a little bit more pragmatic compared to investing to the equities.
Mm.
So first of all, we are one of the first who started to invest into the Russian securities market.
Mm-hmm.
So the performance of if you look to the performance of local bonds, they are more stable.
Mm-hmm.
And they are started to recover, started to grow not in the second half of 2016, but quite before. So when, again, coming back to 2017, we see that the performance, again, of the fixed income market, local fixed income market, is again more stable.
Uh-huh.
So we still don't see a lot of outflow from this market.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the investors are attracted by extremely high real yield,
Mm-hmm.
which is provided by the local bonds, first, and second, one of the probably the best macroeconomic policy, which is provided by the Russian Central Bank and Ministry of Finance,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess guarantee that the investments to the local fixed income is quite can be considered as quite safe.
Okay, so you are saying that on the Russian government bond markets, international investors are pragmatic and attracted by high yields. At the same time, Russian equity market also offers to international investors extremely high dividend yields, which are like the highest in the world. Why do you think there is such a big difference between foreign investors' attitude towards Russian bonds, where they are sort of more or less okay with what's going on recently, and equity investors, they are more panicking in the current situation?
Well, first of all, I see that's a different class of investors who are working on the
Mm-hmm.
fixed income and on equity market. And on equity market, we see more speculative capital.
Mm-hmm.
The second, so these dividends and free cash flow yield, they are not guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's again expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Well, second, what I must say, I guess, if you look to the structure of the Russian public equity market, we will find a lot of companies with revenues in hard currency and costs in ruble. And appreciation of the ruble, which happened last year and in the beginning of 2017, affected some financials of some companies in a negative way. So that's also we have to take into account when we look at the performance of the Russian stocks. So if appreciation of ruble can be considered as a good for the fixed income investor, it's probably not good for the equity investor, as most of the public companies are from the export-oriented sectors.
Yeah, but now there is a reverse of the dynamics. So now the ruble is a bit of a weakening path. So does this mean that now equity investors should be more inclined to invest into Russian equities?
Well, it's interesting, but if you look to the statistic over the last 2 weeks, you will see that ruble depreciated against US dollar, but the performance of equities was quite good.
Okay, I see.
So that means that really it's not a big deal for the equity investor if the ruble is weakening.
I see. Thank you very much, Vladimir. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.
Thank you, bye.